Now we've seen already that the prophetic days are actually prophetic years. But prophetic days are not the only kind of defined time in Scripture. We have another word, prophetic times. I want to show you a couple of examples. Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, that word in Hebrew is idon, and times, and the dividing of a time. And look at Daniel 12:7, and it shall be for a time, now this is a different word, moada, times and a half, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Now I think you've heard that this is the first and the second half of the tribulation again. These times, and half a time. People have assumed they're 3.5 times, and they're actually talking about 3.5 years, and it's all part of the tribulation period, so-called. I think we can prove otherwise. We have to ask what times are. Now, God gave us a day for a year. We already have seen those day years fulfilled in New Israel and in the freeing of Jerusalem from Gentile control. So we know what those days are, but what are times? The Hebrew word for day is yom. The Hebrew word for time is used in Daniel 7 is idon, and the Hebrew word for time in Daniel 12 is moada. Now God gave us a day, a yom, for a year, but God did not give us a time, an idon or a moada, for a year. Therefore, idon and moada must represent a different period of time. But what? How long is it? Well, first of all, we have to understand Old Testament Hebrew idioms. I'm going to give you some examples from Psalms, 2 Kings, and Job. I'm going to read 2 Kings 6:10. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice. Now once is one, and twice is how many more? Just one more. For God speaketh once, this is Job, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. 1 equals 1. Twice is only one more. Job 45. Once I have spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. 1 equals 1. Twice is only one more. And then in Psalms, God has spoken once. Twice I have heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Once is 1, and twice is only one more. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Very simple. So when do these times start? Well, the first one is in the first year of Belshazzar. We can pin that time to 552 BC. Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, that's 1. Times need only be one more, and the dividing of a time. So we're not talking about 3.5 times. Recognizing that Hebrew idiom, we now see that this could be 2.5 times. We can't prove it yet, but believe it or not, you can go on the internet and you'll see many Jews who recognize times is actually 2.5 times. Third year of Cyrus, 533 BC, Daniel 12:7. And it shall be for a time, that's 1, times, one more, and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter or shatter, as it's translated in the New American Standard, the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So now you have to ask, when was the scattering or shattering of the holy people finished? In June 6, 1967, when the Jews again took control of the Holy Land. The Jews began controlling Jerusalem then, so the fulfillment of this prophecy has to be in 1967. It's not something future. It's already taken place. To see when this time and a half began, we must go back in history from 1967 on backwards. Okay, I want to show you this picture, again, of the Babylonian captivity. And you see 533 BC here. This is when the prophecy of the 1290 days were given, 50 years after the sacrifices were abolished, and it's the third year of Cyrus, actually right here, 533, third year of Cyrus. So how long is the time? The definition is hidden in 2 Peter 3:8. The Greek word rendered day in this word is mera. It's Strong's 2250. Translated day, year, age, while, and guess what? Time. In the New American Standard, Emera is translated time in 12 different places, and here are the verses. Since there is nothing in context, nor in 2 Peter 3 itself to dictate a specific rendering, time is as valid a translation as any. Emera is an ambiguous word. 2 Peter 3:8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day, possibly a time, is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years, possibly a time, as one day. If that is the correct rendering, then it is possible that prophetic time could be understood as 1,000 years, if that's the correct rendering. So far, we only have a theory, but we have to look at the possibility that that could be correct. If time is 1,000 years and times is one more 1,000 plus half 1,000, then it's possible that time, times, and a half a time represent 2,500 years. I want you to look at this chart. I'll read the verses again. First year of Belshazzar, 552 BC, Daniel 7:25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Who speaks great words against the Most High? Satan. And they shall wear out the saints of the Most High. During the Old Testament time, who are the saints of the Most High but the Jewish people? And they shall be given into Satan's hand, these holy people, until a time, times, and dividing of a time. First year of Belshazzar, to which this prophecy refers, 552 BC. When was the new nation of Israel established? 1948, exactly 2,500 years. Third year of Cyrus, 533 BC, and it shall be for a time, times, and a half, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter or shatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Third year of Cyrus, 533 BC, it was exactly 2,500 years to 1967 when Jerusalem was freed of Gentile domination, and as of 1967, the power of the holy people is no longer scattered and is no longer shattered. I'm going to show you one more, and this one will be hard for most people to accept. But I've run this up and down history for months, and this is the only place I can find it that it fits. The time, times, and Ephraim. The 10 northern tribes are Reuben, Simeon, Zebulun, Issachar, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Ephraim, and Manasseh. Levi was not counted among the tribes because the Lord separated that tribe out as his tithe to be his priests. Levi is counted in Revelation as Dan is left out, which is rather interesting. And you have to ask why. Possibly because, if you look in Judges, you'll see that Dan went off into idolatry earlier than any of the other tribes. And it's possible that during the Christian era, there aren't any religious or believing Danites left. During the 200 years of its existence, the northern kingdom grew to have a strong economy and powerful army, but it did not become a multitude of nations. So what happened to them? Well, let's look at Genesis 48:19. Manasseh shall become a people, and he shall be great, but Ephraim shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. Now, if you look at the history of Israel during the Old Testament, Ephraim never became a multitude of nations. It was only one tribe in Israel. It was the warrior tribe and considered to be the strongest tribe, but it never became a multitude of nations. So if it didn't become a multitude of nations before the captivity, it has to have become a multitude of nations after the captivity. Look at Hosea 1, 10th verse. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. In the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God. So these people will not be recognized as Ephraim. They will not be recognized as part of Israel, and they will have been dispersed into the world. Nevertheless, they're going to be seen as the children of the living God. How is that possible? It doesn't fit any of our theologies, does it?